Good morning. I'm Liz and I'm a third year student on the BA Ed with QTS course. And I'd like to share with you this morning an idea that I used on teaching practice that really brought about some lovely creative learning for my learners. It took place in a Year 4 class and it's about teaching creatively. Hopefully this clip has given you some sort of visual to give context to what I'd like to share with you today. Teaching creatively, in this case through a creative writing lesson. Tina Selig talks about the fact that we are all naturally creative and that we just have to unlock our innovation engines. She highlights the engine as two parts, the inner part, which is our own attitude, our imagination and our knowledge, and the outer part of the engine is the outside world. That's the resources, the culture and the habitat that we find ourselves in. And all these aspects are all equal components, interlinked, working together to culture creativity. And I really like her analogy. It's a great one, I think, when thinking about how to plan to teach creatively and teach for creativity. So this lesson began with an engaging hook, the suitcase of Mr. Willy Wonka, discovered in a loft in central London, containing a large bunch of old rusty keys and a dusty old diary which instantly sparked the children's curiosity and interest. The last entry written in the diary requested the finder of the case to take the keys and go on an adventurous journey to discover the secret room under the old chocolate factory amidst the tunnels that lay beneath. The mission? To unlock the marvels of his inventions of the past and create new ones. The learning objective of the lesson was to use their senses to create that setting for the story. The children were engaged from the beginning. They were given thinking time to activate prior knowledge of vocabulary and words that they might use. They were then sent off into their groups to discover a closed box on their tables containing test tubes, unlabeled potions and concoctions, sentence starters to support and scaffold their learning according to their ability. And that also helped to stimulate their discussions and imaginations in their groups as well. You would have seen in the clip as well, they also had golden ticket lanyard targets, and on the back of those were their individual targets that were taken from previous learning. And they were very, very excited about that. You could see in the clip they were a bit too excited at times, but then who isn't excited about having a new lanyard? Thinking about the Teachers' Society especially this morning. This was effective as it gave the children real ownership of their learning and it gave them direction. The children were keen to see what their neighbour had as their criteria too, and when assessing during the pit stops, they knew what their next steps were by referring to this, and I think this gave the writing even more purpose, and that was evident when marking their work afterwards. Children who found this task incredibly challenging used the Explain Everything app on the iPads, where they could choose images and record their imaginative ideas in that way as well. The children were given time to think and collaborate their ideas within their groups, sharing those ideas with the class before having to work independently. Pit stops took place during the lesson using questioning to further promote creative thinking and to recap and feed forward what the next expectation was. They were able to refine their writing, which kept the children on task and gave the lesson pace. On reflection, it was an engaging, exciting, fun and imaginative lesson that used, hopefully, my own creativity to encourage and develop creative thinking in my learners. And in their written responses to the task, that was really evident. There were some lovely pieces of writing coming through. It's a real privilege as a student, I count it a real privilege, to go and spend time in many different schools. And clearly schools have the ability to foster or encourage creativity in both the teacher and the learner. But I'm reminded of that innovation engine key and how that's our responsibility to turn that key to unlock our potential, which inevitably impacts those children in our classes and beyond. Thank you.